Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
It's you and the senorita whooper blowing up the tweeter, cause it's me up in the speaker. Back in the mama seat, top down like a player, and the sound up in your ears, it is the dopest rhyme say. I run a game like a cheater, I'm bomb like they're a cheater.
So when was the last time you remember your car breaking down? I don't know about you, but whenever my car has problems, immediately I'm transported back to that 21-year-old self that has no money to do anything. I can't afford another tire, let alone any real work done on my car, yet I need my car to get me to and from work. And the idea of the engine spluttering, which of course it does because it's a 10-year-old Mercury Sable. That was my first car. That's the end of the world. That's it. You're struck with immediate terror in your heart, going, oh my God, no. No, how am I going to be able to get to work? How am I going to be able to pay my bills? How am I going to be able to... I can't afford to get this thing fixed. What now? What now? Hopefully, that's not your situation at the moment. But unless you've led a very privileged lifestyle, you've had that happen to you, haven't you? And I don't know if you're the same way, but part of you, no matter how hard you worked, no matter what sort of security you've built for yourself, no matter how much you can afford to handle any problem that life throws at you with regard to the automotive portions of your life, part of you is almost immediately transported back to that scared, trying to make it kid when you have a little bit of engine trouble. How am I going to get through this? It's a spare tire. I had a blowout. Ultimately, it's like $200, $300 at most to fix if you're getting a really nice tire. But it still could ruin your month. And if your month is ruined, you could be out on your ear. You might not be able to afford rent. You might have to go cap in hand and ask your parents for something. There's nothing good about like even the slightest bit of automotive panic. And it sends you back to that moment. And I had one of those moments a couple days ago where my car straight up wouldn't start. Everything was fine with it. It wasn't the battery. I think it might have been the fuel injection. I'm not sure. I don't know. But my car would start and then it would die. And start and it would die. But I discovered if I revved it, if I kept it at a certain amount of revs, it kept going. So I was able to limp it home. In a way that is probably unwise on the highway, where I would sort of like ride the brake and the gas at the same time. So the car would never stop revving and therefore die. And look, pressing on the gas and the brake at the same time is not a good idea. Anybody knows that. But that's how I got it home. Stop at a red light, precariously bouncing both my feet on the pedals to keep this thing alive for just 5 more seconds. And I made it home. And I thought, well, that's it. That's it for the turn of the century car, the last model they made of this particular SUV with a tape deck in it. It has a CD player. But the tape deck thing, I don't know why. It was sort of a sense of pride. I'm going to ride this thing that still has a tape deck in it into the ground. Going to be responsible. Going to not have a car payment as long as I can. But when that happened, I was like, okay, that's it. That's it for me. I got to get myself a new car because this is probably going to be something serious. And at this stage in the game with this rust bucket, man, what's the point? What's the point in spending a lot on repairs? So I started car shopping a little something. And then weirdly enough, and this has happened 2 or 3 times over the last couple of years, the car started. And it was fine. I didn't have to do that dangerous, precarious thing where I rode the gas and the brake at the same time. By the way, if you know anything about cars, feel free to let me know what it is. At ADSXE, I'd be curious. But the thing about it going, I was like, this is stupid. I'm an adult. I need to buy a car. I do. And then I was just like, oh, man, can I really afford it at this stage in the game? Is it a wise financial decision? I'm trying to save up for some other stuff. And then I got an email from Joe in Port St. Lucie, Florida, which absolutely changed how I felt. I want to say what's up to Joe and thank him for shifting my perspective. I'll tell you how in a second.
Stimulated minds want to know, what were you thinking? No, really, give us a call and tell us. KPRC AM 950.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
I do what I want, when I want, how I want. Every day you're going and working, running that rat race at that pace in that place will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone working day after day. So buddy, I gotta say, for you, there's gotta be a better way, yeah. And you do what they told ya, company man, feel it, a mindless little soldier. How can you live like that and maintain your composure before it's begun? Your life's already freaking over, yeah. I do what I want.
So without a shadow of a doubt, the old Mirthmobile, the wagon that I tool around in, is getting ready to go. And I decided, that's it. I'll just have to get a new car. And then I looked at what it made sense for me to get. And boy, was that depressing. And Funkhauser and I talk about this all the time. Man, if we could just pander, if we could just sort of say we believe in things that we don't believe in, if we could pimp ourselves out, if we could get rid of the pesky morals and sense of responsibility and a conscience that holds us back, if we were able to be self-serving and step on other people, we'd probably both be living in nicer houses, driving nicer cars. And I got so frustrated. I was like, this is I work a lot. I'm not swinging a hammer or anything, but I work a lot. And this, I'm looking at my options going, this is the best that I can manage. Oh, God. All right. I guess I'll just, fine. In the meantime, my car, which was getting ready to go, started running again. And this has happened periodically over in the last couple of years. It just comes back to life. And I was like, no, F it. I'm getting something new. And then got an email from a guy called Joe in Port St. Lucie, Florida. Joe is from Washington, D.C., moved down to Florida for work. And he said, AD, I really enjoy listening to your show. I'm like you. I'm a kid that grew up listening to punk rock, although I suspect I'm a bit older than you. I grew up on Black Flag and the Bad Brains, where you seem to have grown up on The Offspring. Well, yeah, but I doff my cap to Black Flag and the Black Flag. Wow. You could say those words wrong and end up totally off the air. I doff my cap to Black Flag and the Bad Brains. Henry Rollins is one of the many reasons that I do what I do. And he said, I discovered your show for work. While I was working. I discovered your show while I was working. I drive back and forth between Orlando and Port St. Lucie. And I discovered your show, and I really relate to your perspective. And I wanted to thank you because my daughter is 16 years old. And as is the relationship with a lot of fathers of 16 years old, we don't see eye to eye on a lot of things. But I felt she might enjoy your show, and it's given us a lot to talk about. We listen together in the car, podcasts on the iHeartRadio app, and I wanted to thank you for providing us with something that brought us closer together. Please don't stop doing what you do. You create real value. I wanted to say thank you. Thank you to Joe in Port St. Lucie. As I drove chitty chitty bang bang to work today, I had the words from his email ringing in my ears. And it made such a tremendous difference to know that what we do in any way, shape, or form is any kind of a contribution to anybody's lives. These are troubling times that we live in. These are strange times that we live in. And we are, through the right, through the usage of satire, a right that was given to us by God and Larry Flint, we are seekers of truth on this show. It would be easy to pander to the left or to the right. It would be easy to get into a room full of people that agree with us, scream and shout about things that would just be parroted back to us with amens and you go, girls. But to know that we managed to start a conversation, to know that things are not black or white all the time. There's a lot of gray, and in the gray is where you tend to find the truth, and that's the area that this show tends to inhabit. To know that we start a conversation by inhabiting the gray and do things like give families, a grown parent and his teenage daughter, something to discuss, something to come together over, makes it all worth it. Every last second. And as I sat at a red light this morning, wondering if the car was going to die in the street the way it has in the past, suddenly I wasn't so upset about it anymore. And I want to thank you, and I want to thank Joe for giving me that. I want to thank Donald Trump for fumbling over his words the way I nearly did with Black Flag and Bad Brains. I don't know if you caught it or not. Donald Trump gave his big economic speech yesterday in Detroit. At one point, he meant to say cities, and there was a weird glitch that made it sound like he said a different word instead that described a part of the female anatomy, a word that rhymes with cities. It was close. Have a listen. Have a listen.
And, by the way, into cities like right here in Detroit.
Okay, maybe we can't play the uncensored version. Maybe that would get us kicked off the air. But for that, we thank him. Oh, my gosh. Hillary Clinton would like us to know she's got a crew. What is a crew to Hillary? We'll discuss Hill Dog's expanding musical taste next. Tweet us at ADSXE, at FunkFM, at Brandy Aniston is our intern. You can say hello to her as well.
With puppies in my face and I gotta join the human race. Radio
104.1. Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radio Land. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah, give it up, yeah. Bring this on, come on, come on. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. You do what we do. You do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. You do what we do. You do what we do. Well, it's a new one. Here I come again, coming again, taking it back to the place where I'm picking up the pen. And before I started, it's already a killer. When you know that you're good, I gotta say that it's a thriller. Hey, I do it my way, bitch.
So are you a cat person or a dog person? Brandy Funkhauser? Cat people, dog people?
Most people know what I am. I'm a dog person.
I'm a dog person, but I have a cat friend, and that's weird, right?
I don't mind cats, big fluffy ones, but I don't. I'm allergic to short-haired cats, so I don't like to be near them. But if I wasn't allergic, I bet I'd be a lot better about it. But they just seem like they always want to hurt you. Like they stare at you like they're going to attack. For sure.
They do have claws. Well, apparently there's a lot of depth. There's a lot of depth to what it says about you if you are a cat person or a dog person. And we'll get into that a little later on in the show. Right now, though, speaking to the National Association of Black Journalists and the National Association of Hispanic Journalists, Hillary Clinton took a question this past Friday just gone by. She was asked, what was one of the most meaningful conversations you've had with an African-American friend? Well, let's just have a listen.
Ian, what is the most meaningful conversation you've had with an African American friend?
Oh my gosh. Well, can I tell you that I am blessed to have a crew of
Hillary's got a crew. Rolling with the homies. Let's see what else she has to say about having black friends.
Great friends. And I've had 2 chiefs of staff who were my African American women friends, Maggie Williams and Cheryl Mills.
She says that like that fulfilled some sort of quota. Like, I have 2 chiefs of staff that were my African American friends. Let's just go on.
I have been blessed to have people by my side in politics, like Minyon Moore, who's one of the leaders of my campaign. I've had a great group of young people who I have been really motivated by and frankly learned from. So I really have had a lifetime of friendship going back to my college years when one of my best friends was an African American student. So I can't compress into one conversation. They've supported me. They've chastised me. They've raised issues with me. They've tried.
Oh,
and on and on.
I mean,
she goes on to say that they tried to expand her musical tastes. So there you go.
What?
Yeah.
well,
Really?
I mean,
Yeah.
in her defense, though, I mean, that's kind of a tough question. I don't know. I think she
Oh, yeah,
kind
they
of.
were-
I don't think she answered it terribly.
They were after her.
But I mean, I think
They
she
put her
kinda,
on the spot.
That's what I'm
It's a-
saying.
it's
I
an
think she
incredibly-
kind of handled it the best way she could without trying to sound.
Do you really think she handled it the best way she could when she said, "I've got a crew"? Oh,
better than
they
a
see
gang.
me rolling, they hate
She
it.
could have said, "I have a gang of I mean, at least she didn't say that. Just saying.
And let me just say, assalamu alaikum, my brothers. I mean, okay, go.
At least she didn't say I have a band of brothers. I mean, I don't know. She could have said anything else, but
Yeah, well, I don't know. It didn't appear to do lasting damage to her, but I about spat out my cornflakes when I was watching this morning, and she described what she had as a quote-unquote crew. All right, let's do some news. Brandy Aniston, what is going on in the world?
ooh. Well, Melanie Griffith, she turned 59 today.
Let me think
sorry.
about her for a second.
That's a blonde lady from what? Sleepless in
No,
Seattle?
back further.
Oh,
I think you're right.
Sleepless in Seattle. No.
It's Don No, that's Meg. That's
Meg Ryan.
Meg Ryan.
Darn
I was about
it.
to say Meg
Same-
Griffin. Not the same thing.
I like Meg Griffin better.
No, Melanie Griffith. She was married to Antonio Banderas. She's turns
He
turns
was
59.
hot.
She's the mom of Dakota Johnson, the 50 Shades of Grey. You know,
is he a boy?
She was
Yeah.
married to Miami Vice guy Don Johnson, and then she married Antonio Banderas.
She's pretty. I'm looking at a picture now. Now I know, but she looks like Meg Ryan. No, am I wrong?
I don't know.
Are
she
they
turns
similar?
59
Can
today.
we put a side by side?
I'm shocked. She doesn't look a day over Freddy Krueger. Doesn't look a day over Catcher's Mitt. Go on. What else?
She probably likes cats. Jennifer Graves says she turned down an offer to be in ABC's Dirty Dancing remake. Oh. Why?
If you're a big fan, don't give up hope yet. Her original nose still in talks to do it. She had that beak of a nose, and then she got rid of it, and it completely destroyed her career because she was so recognizable as the girl from Dirty Dancing, and then she changed her face, and everyone was like, "Who's that?"
Who's the girl with the nice nose?
Yeah. So who else was she? She was Ferris Bueller's sister.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
right.
Shouldn't gotten it in the nose. I wonder if you get a nose job and you decide. I know you can, get multiple nose jobs, but every time you get a nose job, does it get smaller,
Yeah.
or can you be like, "Hey, how I was before? Can you put that back?"
Well, not really. I mean, it's kind of hard. Once they take out that cartilage, they would have to take it. I watch Botched, so I watch people actually have to go in and get stuff put back on. They can, but it looks really abnormal. I have friends that have had 7 nose jobs, and it's at the point where they can't breathe.
I mean, what do you got left after 7?
I don't know. I haven't even gotten one, and people go on my social media and always make fun of me, and I'm like, that's my biggest insecurity is my crooked nose, and people think that I had a bad nose job. I'm like, no, I was just born that way.
I've thought of getting a nose job
Brandy,
before.
now everyone's looking at your nose.
I know. Everyone's going to go look at my nose. I always bring it out, and everyone's like, oh, I didn't even know it was crooked. Now I know. So there you go.
I've thought of getting a nose job before because I have a deviated septum.
Too.
If you're ever unfortunate enough to look up my nose, you'll see one nostril is freakishly small in comparison to the other one, and that side of my head is where I get headaches and congestion. One side clears a bell, the other side feels like imminent death is on its way.
Same.
So it's it's a tough one. But I was just I don't want to get a nose job.
I don't want them to break my nose.
I remember in high school, I was just and the girl I was with oh yeah, you can totally get a nose job. It'll fix that bump too. And I was I have a broken nose bump from when I fell off of I have a broken nose bump from when I fell off of Jungle Gym and landed on my face in New York on the ice when I was a kid, and so now but I don't know. It's gotten to the point where I don't want to. It's not a good nose. It's not an attractive nose. It's not even a functional nose, thanks to my deviated septum. But I'm just so used to it. I fear change. I don't want to mess with that.
I'm scared that if I go in and I just have a little bit of it, I have a big deviated septum, but it's not so noticeable from the outside. I mean, I notice it. But what if he messed it up more? Then what?
I don't know. It's funny because you see people that have people that get bad plastic surgery. Everybody makes fun of that Tara Reid chick for her stomach and her boobs and just everything. There's a lot there to work with. Right, but it's just you're an entertainer, you're in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. People that get good work done. How is it possible that anyone gets bad work? Referral through a friend or something?
Not necessarily. I mean, okay, here's the problem that people don't understand. With plastic surgery, you cannot pull a picture out of a magazine and say, look, I want this, because it's not your body. Whatever you are given by God, a plastic surgeon can only do so much. They can't totally reinvent your body. They can do to a point, but the way it settles and the way it sits after is up to your body. So he can do so much.
So you could go to one very competent surgeon and they could do great work on someone else and completely make a mockery of your face afterward, or you could look like a car wreck.
It's okay. I've watched some of the greatest plastic surgeons, and I've seen some breast augmentations that are amazing and some that I'm like, wow, what happened to you? But some girls, the ones that are I want mine really, really close together, and they were born with them really far apart. It's really, really hard for a plastic surgeon to change your anatomy. Is from what I know and from what I see on plastic surgery and what my plastic surgeons have told me is that, you can't always expect to look like that photograph of, Kate Moss that you brought in or whoever.
Hear that, Funkhauser?
Mm-hmm. Brad
that
Pitt.
Picture of that picture of Kate Moss is only going to get you so far. What else?
Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg are doing a cooking show together this fall on VH1. I will watch that.
Why would Snoop think that? Why would Snoop think that's a good idea? I mean, is he high?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He has the munchies. It's going to be all that stoner kind of food, brownies and.
I believe the oven that they're using on the show will only have one temperature setting, 420. I don't know if you caught it or not, but it's called Martha and Snoop's Dinner Party. There may be marijuana involved. Here's a clip from when Snoop was on Martha's old show when he made a 420 joke and she didn't even catch it.
Bake these at 350 degrees.
Why not bake them at 420 degrees?
Because they'll get overdone. Here, I'll show you. Here.
Whoosh, right over her head.
That's really funny in California. I wonder if it's funny in Florida.
I wonder.
Sure it is. Go on.
Michael Phelps got his 19th gold medal on Sunday.
Yeah, but keep telling yourself weed is bad.
But we're number one in the medal rankings right now too.
We're always number one in the medal count. That's what we do. USA, USA. I mean, we have a lot of people.
We have a lot of people.
Yeah, it was funny. I was thinking about this. I was thinking about sports teams in general, like football, baseball, stuff of that nature. Almost nobody on the team comes from the city that they're playing for. And what would it be like? It would really build up tremendous amounts of loyalty if people from, let's say, the New York Mets, let's just take that for example. What if everybody that played for the New York Mets had to be from New York? They've got Steven Matz from Long Island, and I think a couple of others, and there it pretty much ends. But what if you were limited to people that were from there? That's why there's a certain amount of loyalty with high school sports that you get, or with people that are indigenous to that neighborhood. They really are our people, and look at them hit, or look at them play volleyball, or look at them do what they're doing. It's an interesting one. I mean... And the thing that I started to realize was, well, the bigger the population of the city, the better your team's going to be, because you're going to have more people to choose from. So America has lots of people, therefore lots of medals in the Olympics. But Michael Phelps bong-ripped himself to a 19th gold medal this past Sunday just gone by. I think it was one that he shared, too, because it was a relay race. It wasn't one that he won by himself. He worked as a team, ladies and or gentlemen. What else?
Donald Trump revealed his tax plan in his speech yesterday in Detroit.
The one where he said something that could be mistaken for something else. He wants to give tax breaks for child care costs, except for parents of crying babies that interrupt his speeches. The woman who had the crying kid that interrupted his speech, by the way, kind of released a statement saying, like, hey, I absolutely understand. I was just so shocked that he was addressing me, and I had to leave, and I wasn't kicked out. I wasn't asked to leave, but I decided to leave myself after he said the second time. I wasn't really serious about loving having a baby crying through my speech, and I think that's fine. I think that's perfectly okay. Look, I get distracted if a board op walks in this room. It's like, I'm looking for a pen. I plan to end their life when I leave here. I'm like, don't you understand? I'm doing radio to tens of people right now, and I do not approve of your distraction. So if I can get uppity about that, someone that's trying to become leader of the free world has every right to be like, hey, maybe you could get the crying baby out of here while I'm trying to discuss what it's going to be like for the next 8 years when I'm president. This is big, important stuff. So it's fine, but she wanted to make it clear that she wasn't actually kicked out. She the first time she said she was just bewildered when he was like, oh, I love having a crying baby during my speech. They're vociferous. They're healthy. That's what we want. And then the baby continued to cry, and he was like, actually, maybe you didn't understand. I was joking about having a love of babies crying during my speeches. Get the hell out. And everyone was like, he kicked the baby out of his rally. And she removed herself of her own accord and said it will not change the way she votes. So there you go. One more piece of news.
Ooh. During his speech yesterday, Donald Trump used a word describing a woman's chest that rhymes with cities.
Yeah. So it was either a simple mistake, or Roger Ailes, former head of Fox News, wrote the speech for him.
Oh. Jamming on the one like Theo Huxtable. Days like this when I feel untouchable. I try and make up for all the wrongs I did by living my life like a Cosby kid. Jamming on the one.
It's okay to disagree. It's not okay to be understimulated.
Well, I was just thinking that...
This is KPRC 950.
Now, more AD on the radio.
Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me. Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me.
Did you know that it says something about you? It says something about you when you are either a cat person or a dog person. You can tell something about folks when you meet them and they turn out to be one of the two. What does it say about you when you're a cat person or a dog individual? Because we tackle the big issues on this show, we'll discuss it a little later on. Right now, though, let's roll through what remains of the news. Brandy Aniston, who you can tweet at Brandy Aniston, also tweet super producer to the stars Barry Funkhauser at FunkFM, and me at ADSXE. Brandy, what is going on in the world?
5 of the 13 members of Donald Trump's Economic Advisory Board are named Steve. I think he just named him that so he didn't forget their names. You're a Steve, and you're a Steve, and you're a Steve.
Well, all 13 also answer to rich white bastards. So, did you hear about the grasshopper the grasshopper goes into a bar, and the bartender says to the grasshopper, "Oh, wow, we have a drink named after you here." And the grasshopper goes, "You have a drink called Steve?"
That's amazing.
What's next?
Video has surfaced of a Scottish man criticizing Donald Trump by singing a song laced with foul-mouthed obscenities.
Or, as it's otherwise known in Scotland, a song.
Right?
They are filthy, but it sounds charming because of the accent. Go on.
Well, on the topic of cats, yesterday was International Cat Day.
And if you already knew that, congratulations on being single. Go on.
A survey found that 6% of Pokemon Go users are over 50. You know what?
Yeah.
I saw a lady that was like at least 65 the other day on a plane. Like as we're like, sitting there, and she was like full blown into Pokemon Go.
Isn't it incredible? Isn't it incredible the moment something like Pokemon Go takes off, an entire third-party industry erupts around it. Like, there's Pokemon Go trainers now. You can pay people to go catch Pokemon for you while you're at work. There's people that do all sorts of things. I saw an ingenious little device. I think it was on... it's this website I really like. I think it's called geekthink.com. But what it is it's like a flap that you can fold over your phone, and it's got a little sort of indentation in it with a straight line so that you can throw the Pokeball straight.
Oh.
It helps you aim.
Oh, this would have helped when I was trying to catch that Pikachu the other day.
See?
Finally caught one, though. Finally caught one. Me and Barry both got a Pikachu over here now.
That's
yeah, haters gonna hate.
Yeah, everyone hate us.
That is news in and of itself. But no, it's incredible the sort of things that pop up. Like there's there's a whole industry that didn't exist just a couple of months ago around the Pokemon Go video game. There are people generating big dollars out of something that they didn't even invent because they've come up with ideas of things to help you aim better. They've trained people. They take people's phones and they run out into the street and catch Pokemon for them. But there you go.
Barry, why are we not setting? What are we doing here? Why are we not doing this? Why don't we have a Pokemon school?
I'm in some private Facebook clubs. That's about as far as I'm going to go there.
I'm on some private Facebook clubs. He's an admitted club member. They're not secret anymore.
I have got to get better friends. But yeah, survey found that 6% of Pokemon Go users are over the age of 50. Interestingly enough, though, they only catch the monsters that are running across their front lawn. Get off of it. I'm stuck. I've got a Gibbler and a Zubat, maybe a Jigglypuff. I've only caught 3.
Oh man, you're just
3?
Well, here's the thing. It involves an investment of time that I don't actually have. I decided to play it, but then it's just...
Ooh, it's the cop-out police. Here they come.
Yeah, excuses.
Well, I can confidently say that if my producer and my intern have enough time to run out and catch various Pokemon, I'm clearly not giving them enough to do. Bearing that in mind...
Just kidding, we're not playing Pokemon.
Right, more news, please.
2 teenagers from Canada were detained after they accidentally crossed into U.S. while they were playing Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
I'm going to Canada in other news, so maybe I'll catch some Pokemon while I'm there.
Yeah, maybe they'll have different accents. Maybe they have like Pokemoose up there.
Ooh, that would be cool, though.
I believe that these 2 teenagers from Canada that accidentally wandered across the U.S. border while playing Pokemon Go, while officials were questioning them, a guy with a rocket launcher and a Death to America t-shirt, he walked right on through. Go on.
Officials checking the faucets in Colorado town discovered water containing THC. I just saw Colorado town and I was like, I'm really thrown off by the town part.
The water supply in this one town in Colorado, THC, for those that don't know, is the stuff in marijuana that makes you all giggly. But it's in the water supply, or at least
it's in
it
our
was.
Coffee.
Yeah. Or is it, as it's known at Matthew McConaughey's house, water. All right. All right, let's talk for a second about being cat people and or dog people. I for one happen to think that if you're a dog person, If you're a dog person, I understand you. I relate to you. If you're a cat person, I had cats growing up, but it's always a very different relationship between a person and a cat and a person and a dog. I had a cat, though, that would go on walks with you. Like my friends called him Dog Cat because he would follow at about 50 paces. It was awesome. He was like, I'm not actually hanging out with you. I'm just curious to see where this goes, don't you know? And, well, I'm also of the opinion that if you share a living space with something warm and furry that has a heartbeat, if you don't develop feelings of love for it within the first 2 weeks, well, you and I can't be friends and there's something wrong with you. I genuinely believe that. But new study looks at dog people and cat people on Facebook to find the biggest differences between them. And they mainly just confirm some of the stereotypes. What are the stereotypes you think about cat people or dog people? It turns out they're kind of true. Hey, Funkhauser, I'm going to peel back the radio curtain a little bit. Is there a reason why I hear an echo of myself that's wildly distracting, like I'm on a bad cell phone call?
Who? No, not me.
What?
I don't know. Huh? Did somebody leave the headphones out on the table again?
No.
Were you too busy catching Pokemon?
No. But there's a Zubat in here.
Uh-huh. Damn Skippy, there's a Zubat in there.
Real Radio. Real Radio. 104.1.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is. The Dumbing Up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
So we'll talk a little bit about we'll do that piece of hard-hitting news journalism that we've decided to call the difference between cat people and dog people in just a little bit. I came across this. I find this to be rather interesting. And I find it to be rather interesting because it's what we accept and what we believe sometimes are absolute insanity. You hear stories about people that have a job where they deal with someone that they just shouldn't have to deal with, but it just becomes part of their daily life. Anybody that has been friends with someone who's been abused, anybody that knows someone that's been abused or who has been abused themselves, although if you're a victim of abuse, a lot of the time you're entirely too close to see it. But if you've gotten some perspective from that, you can see how the values that hopefully you were brought up with, that hopefully are instilled in you, can just get worn away. And it doesn't happen all at once. It's one little compromise after another. And there's this trade-off when you're in an abusive relationship. There's this trade-off where you get a certain amount of something that you feel you need from the relationship to start off with. A sense of security, a sense of being loved, a sense of being honored, a sense of being safe. And those are important to you, but not so important that you would sell the rest of yourself out for them. Yet somehow, over time, you start to compromise. Maybe it's verbal or physical abuse. Maybe it's in the workplace where people talk to you inappropriately or touch you inappropriately or just treat you like crap. I don't want to trivialize the idea of abuse, but and maybe it doesn't qualify as abuse, but tons of people have jobs that ultimately they need, but not badly enough to compromise who they are as a person, day in, day out, over and over again, because they're treated by crap. They're treated like crap by people that don't appreciate them. And when you outline these situations on paper, these situations of abuse. They sound absolutely ridiculous, and everyone would go like, I wouldn't stand for that. I would get right the hell out of that. That couldn't happen to me. That wouldn't happen to me. I wouldn't allow it. Yet this stuff does happen over and over again, because it's not something that happens all at once. There's usually a carrot at the end of the stick, and once you're in a situation, that system of values that would allow you to look at it from the outside and say, this is not for me, I would never allow that to happen, slowly over time gets eroded away until you're less of a person, less of a sense of values, less of everything that made you who you were. And that is almost a relationship we have with our politicians in this country. We have these principles upon which America was founded. And over time, they've been eroded and changed and morphed till we get to this point of acceptance. And again, I don't want to trivialize the idea of abuse by comparing it to this, but it's just the way that you look at something from the outside and go, no way, no how, no. Yet it happens to people sometimes like you. That system of values gets eroded away, chipped away at, until you're a shadow of your former self, or a shadow of the country you once were. Tim Kaine. This is a level of acceptance. Tim Kaine won't answer whether Hillary lied to the public about her emails. Did you see this? On Meet the Press, Chuck Todd asked Kaine whether or not Clinton lied to the American people about sending classified material on her email server. And he totally dodged and pivots to talking points. Todd asked Kaine, can you conclude here whether or not Secretary Clinton lied to the American public about sending and receiving classified email? Kaine said, I have heard Hillary Clinton say over and over again when I've been sitting next to her and watching her on TV that with respect to the emails, I made a mistake and I've learned something and I wouldn't do it again. And I've heard her apologize. She was saying what Director Comey acknowledged to be true. But when she spoke to the FBI thought her answers in that setting were truthful. Of course, she was asked whether or not she lied to the American public, which there's no dispute now that she absolutely did. And Kaine is trying to spin. Kaine is trying to spin it on whether she lied to the FBI. And it's so obvious. It's so out in the open. I know people that are lifelong Democrats that go, Hillary should be indicted. But I like the idea of her more than I like the idea of Trump, so I'm going to vote for her. I want her in the White House. And this system of values, this from the outside looking in, if you heard about a country, let's say the country that South Park invented, Turkestan, doesn't actually exist. But if you heard about this country and you heard that someone who openly lied to the American public was caught in a lie and basically was accepted as being a liar, was running for president, and people were going to vote for her because that's the best option they had, you would say, this is Looney Tunes. This is crazy town. What sort of values do these people have? Oh, American values, apparently. Just ones that have been worn away for a very, very long time. So I would think about that. Who it is that you're actually willing to vote for, that you want to see in the White House, that you want to see being the leader of the free world, the most powerful person on the face of the planet. Has it really gotten to the point where you're happy to go, oh, they should be indicted, but I'm going to vote for him anyway because that's the best answer we got? How about no? How about you handle your own business and you recognize that your life is your responsibility and that the way your day goes every single day will not be changed by an elected official. And if you feel uncomfortable, if you're one of those folks that hear those words coming out of your mouth, and maybe you're not, maybe you think this is all hogwash. I'm completely open to that eventuality too. There's plenty of people that will argue me down and tell me that she did nothing wrong and should not be indicted. But if you are one of those people that is so divided in your conscience where you're like, she should be indicted, but I'm going to vote for her anyway because that's the best we can do, why not look around? Why not look around and see what else is available to you? Why not stand up and have your vote counted? It might not affect the outcome of this election, but I genuinely believe we're at a tipping point in America's history whereby it's possible to affect massive change by saying these two options that we're expected to choose from are not good enough. You have to make your decision about this. But I urge you to give it some thought. All right, how do we seg from that? How do we talk me down off the ledge to the point where we can talk happily about the difference between dog people and cat people? Randy, dog person, cat person?
Dog person.
Funkhauser?
Duh.
Ever had a cat?
I have.
Yeah, me too.
And it tried to eat me.
Yeah, they always look at you like they're about to eat you.
No, literally this one, okay, I had a roommate and I told her, I said, this is a Persian cat. They're super, they need to be in the house. They don't do the outdoors thing. And she decided to let the little lion outside and he developed these psycho habits and never wanted to come back in. And anytime I go near him, he'd be like, rah, and he'd freak out. So needless to say, I never got my cat back.
I've always been more of a dog person. And you know what it says about you if you're a dog person?
What?
Would you say that you're more excitable and emotional?
Mm-hmm.
Funkhauser?
Oh, I'm really emotional. I cry every day.
Funkhauser, you, I would say you're excitable and emotional.
What are you saying? What are you trying to say?
Not a bad thing.
No,
cat people, moodier and a little more smug.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a
The
lot of
words
hate
that
from
dog
cat
people are much more likely to use include excited. I'm excited. If you're a dog person, you like words like excited and proud and blessed and fabulous. Really? Fabulous sounds like something a cat person would say to me. But top words cat people use: tired,
Oh, maybe I'm a
annoyed,
cat person.
sad, happy, amused. Cat people watch hipper TV shows. What are your favorite TV shows at the moment?
Do you really want to know this?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I watch Dateline and 48 Hours and 60 Minutes. So
Stranger Things.
Ooh, Stranger Things is good. Stranger
Episode
Things is
5.
really
Stranger Things
cool.
is good.
Yeah, I like Stranger Things.
Would you say that's a hip show, Stranger Things? I would say it probably is.
Kinda, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Cat people watch hipper TV shows. They're more likely to watch anime and Doctor Who and shows on Cartoon Network. Dog people are more likely to watch. Dog people more likely to watch Grey's Anatomy and Duck Dynasty.
Okay, so I'm definitely a dog person, but I know my cat friends are all Doctor Who fans. That's so funny that you said that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Doctor Who is something I just can't get into. I've tried it. I think it's because it's been running for so many years.
It's been a long
you just kind of have to. It's been running for so many years. It's like, where do you start? It's been going since the 70s. Dog people have an average of 26 more Facebook friends.
Ooh.
But get this.
26?
Yeah, 26. An average of 26 more Facebook friends. But cat people get invited to more events. Well, you know why cat people get invited out more? Cats are like self-sustaining. A lot of people I know that seem like dog people but actually have cats are people that really want to have a pet but live in a cold place. Like, there's a certain amount of independence that you get with a cat that you don't get with a dog. You don't have to go home and walk the cat 3 times a day.
Yeah, I
it's
understand
just not
that.
a thing. And if you live in a freezing cold place, like if you live way up north, like when you go to Canada, I bet you're going to run into a lot more cat people than you would in the warmer parts of America, only because like during the wintertime, walking a dog, well, that's no fun whatsoever if you have to do it through 4 feet of snow, something that I don't think either of you would know. Have you ever had to walk a dog in the snow?
Nope.
Oh, it's this big, wet, freezing, cold mess that, you know.
Oh, wait, I have. I walked my Chihuahua in snow when I was out of state New York. I had to walk. He had to go in a blizzard. He was not happy. But then again, he's only 2 pounds. So would you be happy?
I don't know. I love walking dogs in the snow. I think that's the. That's
I
like
have
the
a
best.
photo of him sitting on top of a snow hill in Central Park. He was so mad.
Walking dogs in the snow is the best, and then you got to bring them in, and they're this wet, freezing cold mess, and there's pieces of snow, and the first thing they do is go, oh, I'm going to snuggle on the couch, and it's going to be freaking fantastic, and it's this whole big thing. So I find that a lot of people that you would think would be dog folks just really want a pet. They want something to live in their home with them, and they just can't be bothered to deal with the snow that goes with walking a dog in the wintertime, so they have the cat instead. And I think that's why you get, as a cat person, invited to more events. Everybody else, like dog people, like, you gonna come out to this? Nah, gotta go home and walk my dog. I've used that as an excuse many times. Meanwhile, Millhouse is like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm fine. We've done like 4 miles today. Stop using me as an excuse. And finally, cat people, more likely to be single than dog people. 30% to 24%. Like I said, we tackled big issues on the show. Thank you for hanging out. At ADSXC is where you can tweet me, at Brandy Anderson, and at Funk FM. Have a great one.